Please do not make this mistake when you retire. If you don't have an income and cash flow strategy, you will find that you're paying a lot in taxes. And the case may be that for you throughout your life, you just let the tax code happen to you instead of proactively planning. But now's the time, especially when you're retired and you have these assets, these savings that you've built up over your working career. It's important that you plan ahead. So let me tell you a story. Deb and Mark, I've changed their names. Great couple. They retired and they had a decent amount of savings. In fact, they were 64 and 65 years old and they had accumulated a good chunk of money, 600 grand in a traditional IRA, 300 grand in a Roth, 200,000 or so in a taxable brokerage account. The problem that they were facing is that they would just take money out in retirement haphazardly. When they needed a new vehicle, they'd take a chunk of change out. When they wanted to do a remodel on their bathroom and on their kitchen, they'd take some money out. They wanted to help a kid with the down payment on a home, they'd take some money out then. And there was no forward looking plan. Now, listen, I'll confess, life happens and sometimes it can catch you off guard. But because they did not plan ahead, the issue was that their taxable income and alternatively their tax bracket was changing all the time. We're getting these peaks and these valleys. And what happens is in the peak years, they're now taking money out but paying it at higher tax rate. Whereas in the valley years, where they weren't taking out as much, they were in a much lower tax rate, significantly lower. And so for them, the goal was to plan ahead and actually take money out of IRAs or other accounts, pay the tax ahead of when they would need it in the years that they were in a low tax rate environment. See, if they have taxable income one year of 150,000 and then the following year it's 60 or 70,000, boy, you can see immediately, and maybe you can't, but if you're a nerd like me, you look at the tax brackets, you can see that, boy, they're paying a lot more in taxes on the income in the 120, 130, 140, 150 range as compared with the 60, 70, $80,000 range. Smoothing out your taxable income is such an important piece of planning ahead. I mean, we talk about budgeting, and certainly budgeting matters when you're working, but it matters especially when you're retired. Not just because you don't want to run out of money from your IRAs, retirement accounts, and savings, but also because we want to save on taxes and doing a little planning ahead. Maybe not necessarily for 30 or 40 years down the road, but maybe the next 2, 3, 4 years will give you the confidence so that when those opportunities come up, you're ready to go. You don't have to worry about paying it out the nose in taxes to the IRS. But hey, if that's your thing, go for it. Let me just give you one other thing to consider. In this situation, because they didn't have a plan in place, they were also forced to liquidate investments at inopportune times. See, so it's not just taking money out of the account, but it's within the account, making sure you're taking money out of the right investments. If you all of a sudden you want to help your kid with a down payment on a home and the stock market just happens to be down at that time and all your money in that one account's in stocks, you're in trouble. But if we can plan ahead and know not only where you're going to be from a tax perspective, but also how much money you may anticipate needing in the future, then we want to move those assets likely into more conservative positions. So we don't have to worry about fluctuations in the stock market or what's going on with tariffs or interest rates or inflation. We've got money set aside, ready to go for you when you need it. And as I said early on, things happen. Once in a while, they come up. And when that occurs, that's fine. We cannot know everything. Financial planning is not, some charade where we pretend to know exactly what the future is going to hold. But it gives us a framework, some guardrails. And as long as we stay within those guardrails, we can be confident that we're on the right track. We don't have to have the anxiety and stress that sometimes early retirees face, especially in those first 6 months to 12 months. because it's hard to know how much you need to live on, especially if you've never done budgeting before in your life. My name is Rizik. I'm a financial advisor, CPA, and certified financial planner. I want you to make smart money moves. If you know someone who needs to hear this, share this with them.